Stop paying attention to the motorcycles dealers want to sell you. Pay attention to the ones they need gone. Right now, new inventory is hitting showrooms across the country, and some dealers are quietly slashing prices on perfectly good motorcycles just to make room. We're not talking about old junk. We're talking about bikes that can save you thousands simply because you showed up at the right time. Today, we're counting down 12 motorcycles dealers are practically giving away. And trust me, you'll want to see the deal. Waiting near the top of this list. Number 12, BMW G310GS. Let us start with a motorcycle that perfectly shows how a great deal can hide behind the wrong expectations. The BMW G310GS arrives wearing one of the most respected badges in adventure riding. And strangely enough, that is part of the problem. Riders see those famous letters and immediately picture a large globe-crossing machine built for endless highways and remote back roads. Then they notice the smaller engine and quietly move on. That hesitation is creating an opportunity. Right now, many dealers are trying to clear outgoing inventory while newer model year bikes begin arriving. The funny part is that very little actually changes. The riding experience remains almost identical, yet the older units are the ones taking up valuable showroom space. When these motorcycles were sitting at full sticker, buyers were typically looking at prices in the mid-$6,000 range. Today, realistic discounts often fall somewhere between roughly $800 and $1,500 below MSRP, with some dealers willing to go even further if a bike has been sitting long enough. And here is what most people miss. The G310 GS was never meant to be intimidating. It is lightweight, approachable, comfortable, and genuinely enjoyable for everyday riding. This is not for someone chasing horsepower numbers. It is for someone who wants adventure without complication. If you're the kind of rider who'd rather save a few $1,000s than chase the newest paint color, hit like and subscribe, because we've got a lot more of these dealer floor bargains coming up. And the next bike isn't just discounted inventory, it's one of the most overlooked middleweight all-rounders on the market, creating even stronger leverage for buyers. Number 11, Kawasaki Versys 650. Now this is where things start getting interesting, because unlike some motorcycles that struggle because of bad timing or questionable design decisions, the Kawasaki Versys 650 has a completely different problem. It is almost too sensible. For years, this machine has quietly built a reputation as one of the most versatile motorcycles on the road. Comfortable on long trips, capable in daily traffic, and more than happy carving through back roads on the weekend. Yet while trendier adventure bikes and flashy sport machines grab headlines, the Versys often gets overlooked, and that is creating a serious opportunity. The latest model year versions bring very little that transforms the actual riding experience. Kawasaki already gave the bike its major updates, which means many outgoing units feel remarkably similar to the newest arrivals now showing up at dealerships. That puts pressure on dealers. A new Versys 650 typically lives around the $9,000 mark, but leftover inventory has been seeing incentives worth as much as $1,500. Add dealer negotiation on top of that, and realistic savings can climb well beyond what most buyers expect. The irony is that nothing is wrong with the motorcycle itself. In fact, its biggest weakness may be that it refuses to fit neatly into a single category. It is not a hardcore adventure bike. It is not a dedicated sport tourer. It simply does everything well. This is for riders who value real-world capability over trends. Now, I'm curious about something. Have you ever bought a leftover model? Or are you the type who always waits for the newest version? Leave a comment and let us know. A lot of riders have saved serious money going one direction, and a lot of riders swear by the other. The Versys 650 is a great example of how leftover inventory can create excellent value. It does nearly everything well, but some riders still see it as the compromise choice in a crowded segment. That perception helps the next bike shine. It brings a longer reputation for durability, a loyal following, and an inventory situation that has quietly produced some of the best deals in the adventure category. Number 10, Suzuki V-Strom 650. Here's where the market starts doing something strange. Because the Suzuki V-Strom 650 is not sitting because riders dislike it. It is sitting because it has been around long enough for people to stop talking about it. And that is exactly why smart buyers should be paying attention. For years, the V-Strom 650 has been one of the safest recommendations in motorcycling. Comfortable, reliable, affordable to own, and capable of covering serious miles without drama. It built its reputation the hard way, through years of proving itself on roads all across America. But now it faces a new challenge. Suzuki's newer V-Strom 800 platform has arrived and naturally grabs most of the attention. Shoppers walk into dealerships wanting to see the latest machine, while perfectly good 650 models quietly remain on the floor. That creates pressure. A new V-Strom 650 typically carries a price around the low $9,000 range, yet leftover inventory has been advertised anywhere from the upper $6,000 range to the upper $8,000 range. In practical terms, buyers can realistically find discounts between roughly $1,200 and $2,500 below MSRP, sometimes more if a dealer is motivated. And here's the irony. The newer bike may grab headlines, but the outgoing model still delivers everything most riders actually need. A proven V-twin engine, long-distance comfort, excellent fuel economy, and a reputation for durability that few motorcycles can match. But not everyone wants an adventure bike. Many shoppers simply want something affordable, approachable, and easy to own. That shift leads directly to the next Honda, a motorcycle that became even more negotiable as rising financing costs slowed entry-level sales. Number 9. Honda Rebel 500. Here is where the story takes an unexpected turn, because unlike some motorcycles on this list, the Honda Rebel 500 is not struggling because riders lost interest. It is struggling because Honda got the formula right years ago. This cruiser has become one of the most trusted starting points in motorcycling. Low seat height, friendly power delivery, light handling, and Honda reliability made it an easy recommendation for thousands of new riders. The problem for dealers is that the newest version feels remarkably similar to the one already sitting on the showroom floor. That is where opportunity appears. A new Rebel 500 typically starts around $6,500 before fees, but outgoing inventory is often being worked down by roughly $500 to $1,000. In some cases, patient buyers can push savings even further through financing incentives, accessory packages, or reduced dealer fees. The irony is that the Rebel success creates its own competition. Many first-time owners gain confidence, trade up, and flood the used market with clean examples. That gives shoppers more choices and puts additional pressure on dealerships trying to move remaining stock. For commuters, beginners, and riders returning after years away, paying extra for the latest model year is difficult to justify. And while the Rebel proves that familiarity can create bargains, the next motorcycle reveals what happens when a genuinely capable machine gets overlooked simply because it refuses to chase trends. Number 8. Triumph Tiger Sport 660. This is one of the strangest bargains on today's market because the Triumph Tiger Sport 660 is not being discounted due to poor reviews, weak performance, or reliability concerns. It is being discounted because it does not fit the story buyers expect. The moment riders hear the word Tiger, they picture adventure motorcycles crossing deserts and disappearing down remote back roads. But the Tiger Sport 660 was built for something very different. This is a road-focused machine that blends sporty handling, long-distance comfort, and one of the most enjoyable triple-cylinder engines in the middleweight class. And somehow, that has made it easy to overlook. Adventure bike shoppers often move toward larger, more off-road oriented models, while sport touring riders frequently never put it on their short list. That leaves many dealerships carrying inventory longer than expected, while newer model year motorcycles begin arriving. And that is where the opportunity appears. A new Tiger Sport 660 typically starts just under $10,000, yet leftover inventory is often advertised between roughly $8,400 and $9,200. That creates realistic savings of around $1,000 to $1,500 before negotiations become serious. The best part is that very little has changed. The newer version delivers nearly the same experience, making the outgoing model difficult to ignore. Quick question for you. What's the biggest discount you've ever gotten on a motorcycle? Not what the dealer advertised. What did you actually negotiate? Drop it in the comments because I guarantee there are riders watching right now trying to figure out what kind of deal is realistic. And if you think buyers waiting for the next generation creates discounts, the next motorcycle shows what happens when an entire segment suddenly hits the pause button. Number 7. KTM 390 Adventure. Now we arrive at one of the most fascinating situations on this entire list. Because unlike some motorcycles that are being discounted simply because buyers overlook them, the KTM 390 Adventure is facing a completely different problem. Its replacement is actually worth talking about. KTM did not give this motorcycle a few new colors and call it a day. The company introduced a heavily redesigned successor with a larger engine, updated styling, revised suspension, and a significantly different overall package. Naturally, that grabbed everyone's attention. And that is exactly why the outgoing model suddenly became such a bargain. The previous generation 390 Adventure was already a remarkably capable machine. It offered lightweight handling, useful electronics, impressive fuel economy, and enough versatility to attract everyone from first-time adventure riders to experienced travelers looking for a smaller, easier motorcycle. But once the new version arrived, many buyers stopped looking at what the older bike still offered and started focusing on what it lacked. Dealers cannot afford to think that way. A new generation model now sits around the $7,000 mark, while leftover previous generation inventory has frequently been advertised between roughly $5,000 and $6,000. That creates realistic savings of about $1,500 to $3,000 depending on inventory age and dealer motivation. And here's the question most buyers should ask. Are the upgrades worth paying thousands more? For serious off-road riders maybe. For commuters, weekend explorers, and budget-conscious adventurers, often not. The outgoing 390 Adventure proves that sometimes the biggest bargains appear the moment a shiny replacement steals the spotlight. But there's another force that can create just as much dealer pressure. Competition from inside a brand's own showroom. Sometimes a motorcycle isn't struggling because it's bad. Sometimes it's struggling because buyers keep choosing its more expensive brother. And that reality brings us to the next machine, where one of the cruiser market's best values has been quietly overshadowed by the very family it helped build. Number 6. Indian Scout 60. Now this is where dealership pressure starts getting serious, because the Indian Scout 60 is not being discounted due to poor quality, weak performance, or lack of demand. It is being discounted because it got caught standing next to its replacement. When Indian unveiled its completely redesigned Scout family, everything changed. New styling, new technology, a new engine platform, and a fresh wave of marketing suddenly shifted attention toward the latest generation. And once buyers begin comparing outgoing inventory to an all-new release, dealers know exactly what happens next. The older bikes stop moving. That creates a rare opportunity. Before disappearing from the lineup, the Scout 60 typically carried a sticker price between roughly $11,700 and $12,200. Today, leftover inventory is often changing hands closer to $9,500 to $11,000, putting realistic savings somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000 before additional incentives enter the conversation. The surprising part is how little most riders actually sacrifice. The liquid-cooled V-twin remains smooth, dependable, and easy to live with. It delivers plenty of real-world performance, comfortable cruising manners, and timeless styling that will not suddenly feel outdated because a newer model arrived. The Scout 60 reveals one of the strangest realities in the motorcycle business. Sometimes a perfectly good bike gets buried by the popularity of the machines sitting right beside it. For buyers, that creates leverage. Dealers know they need those units moving, and that often translates into discounts that wouldn't exist under normal circumstances. But internal competition isn't limited to one manufacturer. In fact, the next machine faces an even tougher challenge. It carries one of the most recognizable badges in motorcycling, yet it still struggles to win over part of its own customer base. And that disconnect is creating opportunities smart buyers are already taking advantage of. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Nightster. Harley-Davidson Nightster was supposed to attract exactly the kind of riders the company desperately needed. Younger buyers, first-time Harley owners, riders who wanted modern performance without the size, weight, and intimidation factor of Harley's bigger cruisers. On paper, it looked like a smart move. The Revolution Max 975T engine delivered strong performance, modern electronics, rider modes, traction control, and a level of refinement that older Harley platforms simply could not match. But then reality stepped in. Traditional Harley customers often viewed it as too different, while newer riders discovered they could cross-shop it against less expensive Japanese motorcycles offering similar performance. Suddenly, the Nightster found itself stuck between two completely different audiences, and that hesitation created inventory. Harley eventually responded with significant price adjustments. Today, a new Nightster starts around the $10,000 mark, while many leftover units and aging inventory examples can realistically be negotiated into the mid to upper $9,000 range. Compared with earlier model years that frequently carried prices between roughly $12,000 and $13,500, buyers are looking at potential savings of $2,000 to $4,000 versus what these motorcycles originally commanded. And here is what makes the deal so compelling. Very little has changed. The newest Nightster delivers almost the same real-world experience as the outgoing models. The same engine, the same technology, the same personality. This is not a motorcycle suffering from age. It is a motorcycle suffering from perception. But while brand identity can slow a motorcycle down, volume can create an entirely different kind of inventory problem. The next step ahead comes from a motorcycle that sells in huge numbers worldwide. And when production outpaces local demand, dealers suddenly find themselves motivated in ways buyers rarely expect. Number 4. Yamaha MT-07. This is where things become genuinely difficult for dealers. Because unlike most motorcycles that receive small yearly tweaks, the Yamaha MT-07 just went through one of the biggest transformations in its history. For years, this bike has been one of the safest recommendations in motorcycling. Riders love the punchy and CP2 engine, lightweight, sharp handling, and reputation for reliability. It delivered excitement without demanding a premium price, which is exactly why it became such a massive success. Then the new generation arrived. Suddenly, Yamaha gave buyers ride-by-wire throttle, selectable riding modes, traction control, a modern display, updated ergonomics, revised suspension, fresh styling, and even an automatic transmission option. The spotlight immediately shifted to the newest version, leaving some dealers staring at outgoing inventory they need gone. And that creates leverage. Previous model, year MT-07, motorcycles originally sold for a little over $8,000. Today, motivated dealers are often willing to work deals that effectively place savings somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 below comparable new generation pricing, sometimes even more when incentives and dealer concessions are included. What makes this especially interesting is that the soul of the motorcycle never changed. The engine that made the MT-07 famous is still the reason riders love it. Fast, playful, and incredibly usable. For value-focused buyers, that raises an uncomfortable question. If the riding experience remains remarkably familiar, how much are those extra features really worth? And that question becomes even more important with the next motorcycle, where the discounts grow larger while the compromises become surprisingly difficult to find. Number 3. Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250 Special. Now this is where the discounts start becoming difficult to ignore, because the Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250 Special is not a budget motorcycle, yet many dealers are treating it like one when newer inventory begins arriving. When Harley-Davidson launched the Pan America, it was a direct challenge to the established adventure bike giants. It arrived with serious horsepower, premium electronics, semi-active suspension, and the innovative adaptive ride height system. On capability alone, it earned respect almost immediately. The problem was never performance, the problem was trust. Adventure riders tend to be fiercely loyal, and many buyers simply continued gravitating toward familiar European and Japanese brands. That hesitation left some dealerships carrying more Pan America inventory than expected, especially once newer model years started appearing. And that is where the opportunity appears. A new Pan America 1250 Special typically sits around the $22,000 mark, yet leftover inventory is often being discounted by roughly $3,000 to $5,000, with some dealers willing to go even further on motorcycles that have occupied showroom space for months. What makes this especially compelling is how little buyers sacrifice. The core package remains remarkably similar, meaning the riding experience has changed far less than the pricing. Yet adventure bikes still benefit from one thing: visibility. They're among the hottest segments in motorcycling. The next direction, however, occupies a much smaller corner of the market. It's a category loved by experienced riders, but frequently overlooked by casual shoppers. And that mismatch between quality and demand has quietly created one of the strongest value plays available today. Number 2, Yamaha Tracer 9 GT. Some motorcycles sit because they are overpriced. Some sit because they are outdated. And then there are motorcycles like the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT, a machine that somehow gets overlooked despite doing almost everything exceptionally well. That is what makes this one so fascinating. Ask owners about the Tracer 9 GT, and they will usually tell you the same thing. Once they ride it, they wonder why more people are not buying one. The problem is visibility. Adventure bikes grab the spotlight. Sport bikes attract the younger riders. Big touring motorcycles dominate long-distance conversations. Meanwhile, the Tracer quietly exists between all of them, which means many buyers never seriously consider it. And that creates opportunity. With Yamaha introducing a heavily updated Tracer family, dealerships suddenly have a new challenge. Incoming inventory is arriving, while outgoing motorcycles are still occupying valuable floor space. A new Tracer 9 GT now pushes well into the mid-teen $1,000 range. Meanwhile, leftover inventory can often be negotiated thousands below that figure, with realistic discounts frequently landing between roughly $2,500 and $4,000 off MSRP, depending on inventory age and dealer motivation. And here is what makes that discount so important. The outgoing motorcycle was already outstanding. You still get the legendary CP3 triple-cylinder engine, touring comfort, electronic rider aids, cruise control, quick shifter technology, and enough versatility to handle almost any type of riding. This is for riders who want one motorcycle to do nearly everything. But what happens when dealer motivation becomes even stronger, inventory costs become even higher, and the buyer pool becomes dramatically smaller? That is exactly why our #1 motorcycle earned the top spot. But before we reveal the final bike, a quick thank you to everyone who keeps coming back and supporting the channel. We're constantly digging through motorcycle news, dealer inventories, and market shifts looking for the kinds of opportunities most riders never hear about. So if you want to support us even more, consider becoming a member. You'll get early access to new videos and help us keep bringing this kind of content to the channel. Number 1, Suzuki Hayabusa. And here it is, the motorcycle that explains this entire countdown better than anything else on the list. Because the Suzuki Hayabusa is not sitting quietly in dealerships because it suddenly became outdated. It is sitting because the market around it changed. For decades, the Hayabusa represented excess in the best possible way. Massive power, unmistakable styling, and a reputation that reached far beyond the motorcycle world. Even today, few machines command the same level of recognition. But here is what makes it such a remarkable bargain. The current generation has changed very little from year to year. New colors arrive, small refinements appear, yet the heart of the motorcycle remains the same. The same legendary inline 4 engine, the same sophisticated electronics, the same effortless high-speed touring ability. That creates enormous leverage when incoming inventory starts arriving. A new Hayabusa typically hovers around $19,000, yet leftover models are often discounted by roughly $3,000 to $5,000, depending on how long they have occupied valuable showroom space. And that is why it earns the top spot. Few motorcycles combine dealer motivation, proven performance, and minimal year-to-year differences this effectively. The Hayabusa proves that sometimes the smartest purchase is not the newest motorcycle, it is the one everyone else overlooked. And that's what makes these motorcycles so interesting. None of them suddenly became bad motorcycles. The only thing that changed is that something newer showed up beside them. And for smart buyers, that's usually when the real opportunities appear. If this video made you think differently about buying your next motorcycle, make sure you check out the next video. We're heading into another side of the motorcycle world that most riders never take the time to explore. And it might save you money, time, or a whole lot of regret. Click the next video to continue the road trip. Join our tribe by subscribing. And don't forget to like this video.